Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Covers. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Daniela Bleckner. I am an author, book journey mentor, founder of a company called Conscious Truth Publishing. We work with authors from all over the world, help them to get their powerful messages and stories out there in the form of books. On the bookshelf behind me here are just some of the 300 plus books that we've published over the last 10 years. I'm absolutely passionate about providing a platform for unseen, unheard authors so they can have their voices heard and stories shared, so they can educate, inspire, and empower for generations to come. So if you're watching for the first time, what is this show about and why is it called Between the Covers? It's called Between the Covers because on this show we interview authors. They don't have to be published through Conscious Truth Publishing. Some have been traditionally published, some have done the DIY self-publishing route, and others have been published by ourselves. It's also a platform to hear from people within the writing and publishing industry to find out what goes on between the covers of creating a book. But today we have this person is not a stranger to writing, but we're not here to talk about her books today. We are speaking to, let me turn this down right now. There you go. Oh, I forgot to mention, you can support me by sending stars. Stars help me to earn money to make more content. So that would be amazing. So I'm speaking with the awesome and amazing Palma Black. Who is Palma Black? She's an incredible leader with a deep commitment to social justice, empowerment, and systemic change. She is the founder of Soul Purpose 360 CIC, a Black women's empowerment organization that hosts the National Black Women's Networking and Empowerment Circle and growing network of local groups across the country. Now, you may have seen me recently post about an event that's taking place on Saturday, the 8th of March in Islington. I'm going to be speaking there. And this is Palma's event, and she's going to be telling you more about that. Here's a little bit more about Palma. In 2024, she won a Women Changing the World Bronze Global Award. Coach of the Year. Palma is an associate director at Atkins Realist. I'm just going to go through it all, Palma, because I was going to pick out bits. I'm just going to read it all, right? Head of Stakeholder Engagement. I'm not going to say all these letters together, but it stands for Everyone Deserves a Roof Over Their Head. Addressing the social and affordable housing challenge using underutilized land assets and engineering construction. Palma is the grant panel board member of the Football Foundation, the Premier League, the FA, and the government's charity that helps communities improve their local football facilities through football grants. There's a lot here. Palma has always been a single parent and has successfully raised 2 daughters. She lives in Surrey, and in her spare time, she engages in DIY projects. Why am I bringing that up? Because we need some help here. So Palma is a very, very busy lady. She does a lot. Hey there, Pamela. Thanks. You're watching from East London. Hello. If you're watching, please do say hello. This is also your chance to engage and ask questions. Find out the answers to those questions that you have. Also, just let me know where you are watching from. So please, I want to see those fire emojis going up and down the screen while I add Palma to our interview. Palma, how are you doing?
Hi there, Danielle. Thank you so much. That interesting introduction. It does sound like a bit of a mouthful, doesn't it?
There's a lot. There's so many different facets, but I think that from what the little I've known of you so far, you wear a lot of hats. Yeah,
I do.
One of your mantras is shaped by discrimination, molded by resilience. I want to find out about Palma before we speak about Soul Purpose 360 and the event. Can you share a pivotal moment in your life that truly tested your resilience and shaped your path?
Gosh.
Sorry, I threw you in there. I should have just said, how are you?
Today I am good. Today I am busy. You know, you mentioned the event that's taking place next week, and we will talk about that. So it's all been rush, trying to get things over the line at the last moment. But going back to that, shaped by racism and molded by resilience, I think that's something that I would say is a culmination of so many things that have happened in my life. And I think that when we get to a certain point in our life and we kind of look back and we begin to join the dots, we begin to realize that we are the people who we are because of our experiences that we've had. And I think that when I look back to being a little child, you know, growing up and experiencing racial violence, racial taunts, you know, and then really kind of having to steel myself, and then growing up and experiencing that in school, you know, through college days, on the streets, all of that, you know, that makes us, it makes us strong. And I think as Black women, you know, there is this dichotomy between the strong Black woman trope and the strength that we gain as individuals, that as a result of the resilience that we've been through.
100%. I mean, one of those things about the strong Black women trope, again, and another reason why I love what you're doing, is that I find can be quite damaging, because when people view you in that way, it's almost like when you are at your weakest, when you are vulnerable and you really do need help, you feel like you can't speak out because everyone expects you just to get on and be strong and just keep going.
But not only that, I mean, you know, that trope is the reason why Black women are 3 times more likely to die in childbirth. You know, because it's written into the medical books that Black women have a higher pain threshold. So we're not allowed to be weak, even at the time when we're giving birth. The greatest amount of pain that most women will endure, you know, Black women are seen as being strong, and so their pain is ignored or belittled, and it's literally killing us. It's killing Black women.
Yeah, 100%. And I know your event covers quite a lot in terms of like the health and psychology aspect of it as well, which I want to dig into. But first of all, like, I want to know what inspired you to transition from a background in applied biology to activism.
So I as a child, I always wanted to help people, and that was always what I wanted to do. And, you know, as Black children, we're given only a handful of options in terms of careers. You know, you're going to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or accountant, and that was it. But I was always interested in biology. And so I threw myself into studying the sciences, you know, and again, I experienced so much racism in school, where the head teacher didn't want me to take 3 sciences, but I knew I needed 3 sciences in order to become a doctor. Did that. Got through school, went to college, fantastic time, got an unconditional offer to Imperial College. I didn't know what Imperial College was. I had no idea. I just thought it's in London, it's a university. I want to stay in London, and that was it. But whilst I was there were only 3 Black girls on the biology course. And unfortunately, one of those who was my best friend at the time died of a brain hemorrhage whilst we were at uni. And cutting a long story short, I held myself responsible because of the kind of person that she was, and it really traumatized me. And so I left uni. I didn't graduate with that degree. I left, and a few months later, I was at a wine bar, and I met a guy who was talking to me about politics, and I'm really interested. And he asked me if I wanted to go to a meeting. And so I went to this meeting, and it was a Labour Party Black Sections meeting. And by the time we left, I was elected National Women's Officer.
Oh, wow.
Just fell into it. Just fell into it. And actually what I realised was that desire to help people could be found in lots of different ways. And so I became a political activist after that. And it's what I've always done. Just it's in the DNA.
Amazing, thank you. So let's talk about Soul Purpose CIC. I've been reading about 360 CIC. Yes. I've been reading about your sort of backstory and what motivated you to set this up, and I know it's quite personal to you. Can you give us a sense of what is Soul Purpose 360 and what inspired you to set it up?
So what is it? It's a Black women's empowerment organisation, like you said. Initially, Danny, when I set it up, what I wanted to do was to just coach and mentor just a handful of Black women at a time. And the reason why, in 2012, my older sister became terminally ill. And in the 6 years it took for Pauline to die, we were having really deep, meaningful conversations. And I realized that actually I was only just beginning to learn who my sister truly was. And what I learned about her, I began to understand how important confidence means to us as individuals, just really how our lives can be shaped and influenced depending on the level of confidence and self-love and self-belief and all of that kind of stuff. Now, I'd already begun my personal development journey. I was in a job that I really hated and I wanted to leave. And so I began this whole kind of searching for who I was. And I decided I wanted to train as a coach. So as Pauline was getting more and more ill, I was studying and learning my coaching trade. And what I decided to do was to organise a national event at that time about all things confidence. And it was going to be aimed at girls and women, and it was going to be a fantastic event. Had the date set and everything. And before the event could take place, Pauline passed away. And even though, you know, after 6 years of suffering from stress-related cancer, I knew that she was going to die. We knew that her life was going to end. When she passed away, the pain, I just felt like all of the oxygen had been sucked out of me, and I was just a shell. And so I cancelled the event. I got on with grieving. I got on with work. And about 15 months later on, I was sat at home thinking about how amazing that event could have been. And realizing that actually what I had been through was huge, because I've been through stuff before, Danny. You know, we do stuff and we just get on. But at that point, I knew that was something huge to me. And I just reached out to women on LinkedIn who I didn't know. And I asked them, you know, I could see that they were successful, if they wanted to share with me their personal challenges on their road to success. And that afternoon, 3 women called me. I didn't expect them to, but they did. And they told me the same story. They told me that, first of all, nobody had ever asked them about their personal journey. Nobody had really shown an interest in them as individuals. They talked about lack of access to training or funding and patting them on their back for doing so well, that kind of thing. And they told me that, you know, they would go out of a day to day and they'd get back home and they would collapse in a heap behind their front door, and nobody saw the pain that they were going through. And then they talked about personal characteristics like perseverance and overcoming challenges and obstacles. And then they talked about the importance of a strong, supportive network. And I realized that in the 6 years that I was supporting my sister, I had let go of my network. I didn't have anyone to support me. So Soul Purpose 360 really was a desire to provide a space for Black women to talk about what was going on for them and to help them to overcome their challenges and obstacles. And because I'd worked in community development for, at that point, about 25 years, didn't want to start a new career. So I thought, if I blend the two and work with women who are either actively involved in the community or who wanted to do something in the community. And that's what the original idea was. 3 or 4 women I can work with at a time. We went into lockdown. The women I was with formed a WhatsApp group, and then women started to call me and after joining the group, and I'm like, got the wrong number. And they were like, no. And here we are today. We've got about 1,500 members across the globe in our network. And it has been an incredible. But you know what that tells me? It tells me that Black women want and need something like this. And we have local groups. So it's not just me doing all of this. Yeah. We have local groups in different parts of the country, different boroughs. And it's those women that hold monthly empowerment workshops so that they can reach, engage and empower other Black women. It's phenomenal.
So if you're watching, it's a WhatsApp group for each area, right? You're not going in and there's 1,000 women.
They meet in their community once a month and they bring women together. And yeah, it's just this amazing connective space where Black women are just coming in together. And the amount of friends that I have got from Soul Purpose 360, it's been life-changing for me, and it's life-changing for others that come into this space as well.
And I just want to say, if you're watching, I've just joined Soul Purpose 360. Loving it so far. A few of my authors are in there as well. So I just want to throw up, is it soulpurpose360.com?
UK. Membership is free. You know, we're not putting obstacles in the path of women joining the organisation. We want them to join. We want them to brag and boast about what it is that they're doing in their life. You know, oftentimes we can't do that because people will tell us that it's wrong to talk up yourself. You know, this is a space where you can show up, show off, and everybody will champion you, and we will hold a safe space for you. If that isn't your thing, you can come, you can be vulnerable and get the help and support that you need in order to move your life forward as well.
Perfect. Thank you. I've thrown up that link. It's also above as well if you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn, and below if you're on YouTube. So we've spoken a bit about the vision, and I know how sometimes you can start with a really small vision, and when it's got the purpose, it takes a life of its own, and it's gone into this much huger thing, which, as you said, shows that there's a need. Your hashtag Definition Redefine campaign is calling a national commission on Black women and girls. What specific policy changes do you hope to see come from this initiative?
Do you know, I hope that we have real systemic change. The reason why we're calling for a commission is women will come to a coaching session with me, and what I began to find was, irrespective of the individual I was coaching, the conversations were the same. So I could be coaching a Black woman who has, you know, long-term unemployment. She's experiencing poverty. She's experienced domestic violence. She's in a really bad place mentally, physically. Then I could also be coaching somebody who is middle class, lives in a really good area, really, really good job. But we're having the same conversation. We're talking about the perceptions that are placed on us by others that limit our ability, you know. So woman A may be saying, well, I'm not going to apply for that job because I've been told repeatedly that I'm worthless, I can't do this, I can't do that. And then the woman who's in the job is being told that she shouldn't apply for that promotion, and she begins to think that as well. And so coaching these two different types of women and then having the same conversation, I used to be sitting there after and saying, well, maybe it's the way I'm coaching. But the reality is that I could identify with so much of what these women were talking about. And so what I began to realize, and my community development and my political activism background really kind of helped to shed a light on this, the negative narrative that exists about Black women, that we're angry, that we have an attitude, you know, that we are challenging, all of these things are based in a historical colonized era that no longer serves us.
The uppity kind of,
and these perceptions are what people have used to write policy about us. And the fact that Black women are 3 times more likely to die in childbirth because they're not seen to experience pain has its roots in colonial history, where Black African women's bodies were used to experiment on for gynecological instruments that are still used today. And that whole idea that, you know, Black women don't feel pain, because when they were doing these experiments on Black women's bodies, they weren't using anesthetic, they weren't using painkillers. And these women had to stifle their pain. And so Black women don't feel pain. They're not human like white women. And so that idea then becomes translated into textbooks. It's the way that doctors and gynecologists are taught about Black women and pain. But it's not just in maternity health care. It's right the way across. When you look at the statistics of Black women engaged in the criminal justice system, because Black women are suspected of being likely to be violent, likely to flee. You know, we, as Black women, we experience the worst when it comes to the cost of living crisis. So for every single indices there is, Black women sit at the bottom of that. And one of these things that I learned recently, and being a biologist, it really interested me, was the term allostatic load. And I implore Black women to go and do their own research into allostatic load. And this is simply wear and tear on the body. And it was coined in 1993, and it's statistically and research scientifically known that African Caribbean women are more prone to wear and tear on the body because of the day-to-day discrimination and the day-to-day treatment that we experience. And when I was learning about this, what I learned was actually that's what caused my sister's stress-related cancer. Yeah. And it's really important that we recognize that all of these things external to us that are impacting us, that are not of our doing, but it's happening to us.
External forces creating stress.
Yeah, and it leads to illness and premature death in Black women. And that's why the system needs to change. We need to recognize it as Black women. We need to say enough is enough when it comes to policy. We need to be having one conversation about Black women. Yes, I recognize that there are amazing organizations that are doing stuff around, maternal health and the race gender pay gap and, cost of living and all the rest of it. But actually, all of these things are connected. And that's why we need a commission to discuss all of these things together. I describe it as a domino effect. All of these things, when one falls down, they begin to knock all of them down. And that's how we need to tackle this issue.
So how can individuals and establishments or organizations best support this commission?
What we're doing, so we're having a conference next week, Saturday, and this is the theme of the conference. We are trying to get the conversation started. And what we hope that comes out of the conference, because I don't know, I've got individuals coming who are going to be coming to speak. And at the end of the conference, what I'm hoping is that there is a consensus that this is the right way to go. The idea was mine, but the feedback I'm getting is saying that people are really interested and people believe that this thing has wheels. What I'm hoping is that after the conference, we can bring together a whole range of different individuals and organizations and begin to have those conversations, begin to work together as organizations, all Black organizations, health agencies, the police agencies, whatever. We all need to come together into this space and have these real, honest conversations. And no longer should Black women feel that when they're impacted by any of these things, that they're on their own, and know that, change is coming because the time is right, Danielle.
Thank you. I want to move on to the event in a second. I want to acknowledge some people who are watching and commenting. So we've got Mon Taylor watching on YouTube saying, "Hi Queens, very inspirational backstory. You're amazing, sis Palma. A true beacon. We love and admire you. Keep rising." Okay, agreed. Irvin Williams, hello there. He says, "A real positive force for good. Absolutely amazing. Thank you. Come down if you're commenting and you're here and you're available on the 8th. We're going to speak about the event in a second. International Women's Day in Islington. There is an event specifically for the things that we are talking about right now. Red Oxal says, "How would your approach change depending on people's circumstances?" How would you approach change? I think you mean. Maybe we can elaborate a little bit on that. Lee says, "Real talk." Hey there, Lee. Donna Moritana, hey, hello. Oh no, I'm going to miss the conference. Will it be recorded? Oh, we'll miss you, Donna. Will it be recorded, Palma?
We are not recording it. We are hoping that we will be able to record the panels. So the panel that you're speaking on, we're hoping to be able to record those and then make those available afterwards. But for the whole conference, unfortunately, no.
I'll fill you in, Donna. Donna says, "Both of you are inspirations to me personally." Right back at you, Donna. You are a pillar of the community. All the work you're doing is absolutely fantastic. So let's talk about International Women's Day. It starts at 9. It goes on till 5. You've got a whole host of panelists, speakers, workshops going. I'm personally going to be on the morning panel talking about Success Redefined. We had a really good conversation about that. Can you tell people who are coming and who will miss it what they're going to miss out on? What they're going to miss out on? What's happening?
Yeah, so we have a packed day. So I'll just talk about what the event will look like first of all. So we have amazing speakers coming, and I'll talk about some of those individuals as well, including yourself. What we also have, we have a marketplace. So we've got half of the venue is being set aside for a pop-up market, which is being curated by Charm Miller from Millian Market. There's going to be 36 stalls, Black women and others selling their goods and selling their services. We really are about empowering Black women. So we're making that space available for vendors. We've also got a number of women who are members who are going to be offering their one-to-one services. So we've got health and fitness assessment by Zella Gale. We've got holistic therapies by Althea Holistic Hazel Stewart. We've got HR advice. We've got social media advice. We've got two coaching sessions. So these are all free. Once you've bought your ticket, you can buy these additional services for free as well. We are launching our photography project called Single Light. I have been absolutely blessed to meet the amazing Sharon Douglas, who's actually our local group's development officer, but a badass photographer. And she's been taking photographs of women in the membership, and the photos, phenomenal. So we're going to be launching the photo exhibition at the time on the day. And what we're hoping, Danny, is that we can, that can be a touring exhibition. There's a little twist to it, which I'm not going to say. You need to come along and be.
I want to know now.
No, not gonna. The pièce de résistance of the photography exhibition is going to be absolutely fantastic. We're also previewing a book. So over the past year, members of the Black Women's Networking Empowerment Circle have been writing, and we're putting them together as in a Black Women's anthology. And we've got, poems, we've got women pouring their hearts out, we've got women who are budding authors. And again, that the idea of that was really about providing a space where women can become published authors, even if it is just one poem, even if it is just a short story. So what we're hoping is that, we can have that previewed for the day. What else is there? There's so much going on that.
How long is the day?
It's good. Absolutely, yeah. It's
the dance, the health. And my fellow Rhoda, who many of you will know, was one of our very first editors, still works with us. Very busy lady. She's also going to be on the same panel speaking about success redefined. We discussed it a bit, but Palma, what would you say? What does success redefined mean for you? And if you're watching, I want you to have a think about it. What does success redefined mean for you?
Again, I think, and this is the reason why I think the panel discussion is going to be really important. And as we discussed last week, oftentimes other people will define for us what success looks like. And other people's idea of success may be so great that we can never achieve it, or so little that we realize that people actually don't have that much faith in us. And I think what's really important is that we as individuals define for ourselves what success looks like. And so, I've chosen 4 very different Black women to be on this panel, yourself being one of them. And we're going to have a conversation about your routes to success and what success means for you. I once heard someone say that, if a child aspires to be a teacher when they grow older, and if they attain that, then that's success. But a teacher may not be the highest paid job in the world. But if that's what somebody wants to achieve, then that is success to them. I think that oftentimes we couch success in monetary terms, but actually success may be just being comfortable with who you are, where you are, and loving what you do. Yeah.
Exactly. And sometimes, like you say, like honoring where you are, looking at the challenges in our life. I mean, you've spoken about a few of the challenges, and I'm sure you've had many, many more. What could we tell our younger selves when we thought at that stage we were not able to get up and get through it? That here we are, we've got through it, we've done it. That is success in itself. It's not always linear, having to be get from this point to that point, and it doesn't have to be at the same time as your peers either. I think it's a really great discussion. I'm really looking forward to it. If you're watching, Lee, I know you're commenting. Jason, I can see another one of our authors. Hey, a poet, actually. Please just have a think about it. What does success redefined mean to you? Just let us know. Urban, if you're watching, just let us know in the chat box there. Jason says very true. Lovely jubbly. I've got so many more questions, but I've got to be choosy which ones I'm going to ask you.
The speakers on the day. I mean, I am blessed. You know, I put out a call for speakers and people responded. So in the morning, we've got Ngozi Cadmus, and she is absolutely phenomenal. If you're on LinkedIn, I urge you to follow her and read her posts. And she has, she's doing a PhD, and it's all about rest and why Black women need to rest, and this whole revolution that she has around Black women and rest. And that's so important, because I talked earlier on about allostatic loads. So she's going to be doing a piece there. The other speaker is a mathematician, a mathematical modeler, actually, somebody who I work with at Atkins Realis, Professor Dr. Naira Chamberlain. I think he's got like 6 or 7 doctorates. I mean, the man is just phenomenal. But what he has done is quite revolutionary. He has come up with a mathematical formula to measure race equality in the workplace.
I remember you talking about him. Yeah.
And so he's going to be talking about, his talk is called If All Things Were Equal. And what's really important about that is, in all my years, you know, fighting racism and you know, seeking change, you know, who knows what change really looks like? You know, who knows what it is that you're working towards? What Naira's work will do will give us a benchmark, will give us what we're working towards. And so for his talk, If All Things Were Equal, he did a presentation for me recently where he talked about the numbers of Black women dying in childbirth. And he showed, you know, these are the white women who die in childbirth, and these are the Black women that die in childbirth. And you can see the inequality. And what his formula enables you to do was to look at, if all things were equal, this is how many Black women should be dying in childbirth. That is what we should be working towards, a real tangible figure. And I think that if we can have these real clarity, people can't be dismissing us anymore. And you know, the idea that, you know, most workplaces will show wonderful graphs about, you know, what equality looks like. We've got this many women in our organization at this level and this many. Actually, when you apply the math, it shows a reality of the situation. And that, I think, will help us to achieve real equality and equity as well. We have Diana Crouch, OBE, who is the All-Party Parliamentary Group Special Advisor on Ethnic Minority Business. And she is a real advocate for Black women in business as well. And we also have Ros Etwaria, who is an absolute phenomenal DEI consultant. I'll have some really, really amazing people speaking at that event. So it's going to be off the charts. It really is.
If you haven't booked your ticket and you're not doing anything on Saturday, hop over it when this interview ends. Book it, right? I'll put the link up again. Thank you, Palma. So a few people have answered that question. What does success redefine mean to them? Pam. First of all, Pam, shout out to Pam. I've got both the books on my shelf there. Loving the Brothers, Loving the Sisters. All the, yeah, that order. Award-winning author. Every time I see Pam online, there's an award here. So she says, accomplishing the goals on my vision board. Oh, okay, lovely. You have to see it for it to happen, like in your mind first and physically. I'm a really big fan of vision boards, actually. What's on your vision board, Pam? Tell us. Irvin says, success is happy. I'm happy and I feel it.
Yes.
Pam says, gosh, I only want one doctorate and an honorary I can't say the word honorary one at that. Love Ros. Aye, cool. Hello there, Janine. We're just talking about International Women's Day, what to expect at the Success Redefined. What does Success Redefined mean to you, Janine? I'd love to know. Throw it up in the comments for us. So the event is going to be off the chain. Book your tickets. Looking ahead, what would you see, or where do you see Soul Purpose 360 in the next 5 years?
Wow.
What are your plans?
So in the next 5 years, I see us being a truly global movement. We have members all over the world. And even this week, we were having a conversation with a sister in Ghana. So we are planning to, go abroad. Last weekend, I was having a conversation with another sister about going to Jamaica. So, the idea that Black women coming together, supporting one another, helping one another, championing one another, providing spaces where Black women can be vulnerable, where they can get the help and support that they need. That's really what I want. I want Black women to feel that they can be their true selves and they can talk about what's ailing them, so that they don't end up dying like my sister, full of regret.
Thank you. It's powerful. Good. Some sort of global conference. You said something before about, people, everyone coming together, the different bodies, the organizations, but also individuals, sharing our stories. Doing what I do, I see the power in us sharing our stories, because so many of us feel alone. When I first published my first book, which was quite personal to me, I come from a family that, especially my mum, a Jamaican woman, you don't chat your business, you don't air your dirty laundry, you're not wrong and strong, but you're strong and you just move on and you deal with so much stuff. And then suddenly you realise, I used to suffer from that, the most immense neck and backache, and I still do since 17. But it's the stress that you accumulate and you can't let out, because you carry on. So I think things like sharing our stories, not feeling so alone, speaking and working together collaboratively and sharing good practice, I think is so important. So circles like this, memberships like this, I think, start local, go global. You started off with wanting to do a group of 3
That's
or 4.
Right.
Now we're talking about Jamaica and Ghana and, hitting big heights. So, take my hat off to you, Palma.
Thank you. But talking about the physical pain and having a space to talk, oftentimes women will come to a workshop and, they will find it within themselves and find the confidence to speak something for the very, very first time. And I think for me, that really is what makes the in-person local groups something, because you can see the transformation in the women, over time. You can see them physically looking better. They're mentally getting better. But you know what? The really sad thing about it is, a lot of these women are grown women. They are grown. They've spent most of their lives hiding, not talking about what's really going on for them, putting on their makeup, putting on their clothes, going out and being this amazing individual. But actually, behind closed doors, they have so much pain going on for them. And it's not me. It's the other women in the group who are holding that space for them. That to me is what really makes Soul Purpose what it is. It's the volunteers, it's the members of the organization that carry Soul Purpose 360 with them wherever they go, and share that with others and are growing the organization.
That's fantastic. Palma, it's been an absolute honor to speak with you today. How can people connect with you?
So visit the website, soulpurpose360.co.uk. You can email us, info@soulpurpose360.co.uk. Follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. If you really want to support, send us some money. That would always help. Buy a ticket, come along to the event, show your support. We really do need people to show their support for a commission on Black women and girls. I don't imagine that the government or anyone is going to be falling over backwards. Say, of course, we need a commission to talk about Black women. It's not. We need to make it happen. We need a collective voice to say, actually, enough is enough. We need to push for change, and we need to put Black women at the center of this, not having people speaking for us, but we need to have a voice at the table and people pushing for change, the change that will bring total benefit to us as individuals and as a collective.
Thank you. I could listen to you talk all day. I feel like you're geared up just listening to you. Brilliant. I hope you're speaking, Palma. Hope you're one of the speakers. I
am speaking just a little bit, but I'm handing the floor over to others because it's others' voices. So I also want to hear, I'm also on a learning and a growing journey. And I don't think that, that ever stops. But what I'm trying to do is to bring other people on that journey with us as well.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm just going to read a few more comments before we close. Pam's got another success redefined here. TEDx has been on my vision board for 4 years. Make it happen. I can see it now already. You there on that red circle with the red. Is it even a circle? I don't know. Start local, go global. That resonates with me greatly. I always say that, especially with authors. Start local, go global. Go to your local Waterstones. Forge the connections. I've got my book into places just by literally walking into my local Croydon Waterstones and forging relationships. Donna Murray Turner, for me, success is using my influence to shift the dial on Black women's inclusion and representation in all areas of public and private life. Showing up is different for us all.
Absolutely, Donna, and that really is the essence of what it is I'm trying to. I want so many more Black women to find their voice, so that they can be a part of that social change. And I think really that's kind of really what Soul Purpose 360 is trying to do. We're trying to empower Black women to find their voice, to be a part of change.
On that note, I hope to see many of you at the International Women's Day event on the 8th of March. Only a few weeks now, or is it next week?
Next week, Saturday.
Oh my God, see your face folding into one. How are we at the end of February? Next week, Saturday, guys. Book your tickets. The link is up there or down there, bit.ly.
And the event is open to Black women, Black men, white women, white men. We want allies there because you know what? If we're pushing for change, we need everybody at the table. Yeah, and we need them to hear it coming from Black women. So we absolutely do want everyone to turn up, show up in as support, buy from the women in the marketplace. Let's really support one another in this space so that we elevate each other.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I'll be there with the stall as well. Join us next week where I'll be interviewing the awesome and amazing JBK, aka Janelle. She's only 16, published a book with us called Bloom. This is Janelle. She's amazing. For her, similar to me growing up, writing poetry was her outlet. And she's written all of this herself. She's designed the cover herself. We've just helped her put it together. And she's created this beautiful product that she can go off now and sell called Bloom. So it's going to be her very, very first interview next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. GMT, 2 p.m. EST. Please join and support her. She's an amazing young person. Have a beautiful day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.